Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something really special happening over at the University of Siena in Italy. It's a support service that's all about creating a space for students to thrive, just by being exactly who they are. Okay, let's get into it.
Just think about that for a second. In the middle of all the academic pressure, the deadlines, and just figuring out life, what if there was a place on campus dedicated not to changing you, but to celebrating you? A space where the things that make you unique aren't seen as a problem, but as a total strength.
Well, that's the whole idea behind the University of Siena's Ascolto e inclusione service. And look, this isn't a clinic or a counseling center in the way you might think. It was designed from the ground up to be different. It's a space for real self-expression and some pretty powerful support.
This quote from the university really gets to the heart of it. The whole goal is to create a safe and confidential space where a culture of plurality is cultivated. Now that word, plurality, it just means the idea that there are many, many ways of being and all of them are valid. So this isn't just about tolerance, it's about actively growing and nurturing diversity. So here's the real game changer. The service wants to totally reframe how students see themselves. It wants every single student to feel like their individual quirks, the very things that make them different, are actually resources. Resources for themselves and for the whole university community. That's a huge shift from a what's wrong model to a what's your strength model.
Okay, so who can actually use this? Is it for a specific group of people? Well, the answer is meant to be really broad, because their whole definition of inclusion means, well, it means everyone.
I mean, it's right there in the name. Ascolto e inclusione literally translates to listening in inclusion. And that's its mission, plain and simple, to promote the value of every single student. That listening part is active, right? It's about really hearing you, understanding you, and then working with you.
And when they say inclusion, they mean it. The service offers support for, well, pretty much everything, from disabilities and learning differences to gender identity, sexual orientation, your ethnic background, your culture, and then there's that last point, and any other aspect of inclusion and diversity. That's basically an open door. It says, if you feel different, you belong here.
And they don't just hint at it, they make it absolutely crystal clear. The service explicitly calls itself an LGBTQIA+ safe zone. That's not just some buzzword, it's a promise. It's a huge signal to students that this is one place where they can be totally open about who they are without any fear of judgment.
All right, so we know what it is and who it's for. But how does it actually work? What really happens when a student decides to reach out? The whole thing is framed as a collaborative journey, which I think is a really powerful way to look at it.
See, it's all about working together, not being told what to do. It starts with just you, exploring your situation in a totally private, supportive place. From there, you work together to figure out, okay, what do I actually want? What are my goals? Then you start building strategies that work for you. That could be anything, even deciding if or how you want to share parts of your identity with others. And this last step is so crucial. If there are roadblocks, like with a professor or another department, the service becomes your advocate. They'll help mediate and find a way forward, together.
All of this sounds amazing, but let's be real. Often the hardest part is just making that first move. The university seems to get that, and they've made the whole process as simple and as unintimidating as they possibly can.
And here it is. Get this. It's one email address. That's it. No complicated forms, no navigating a confusing website. Just a single direct line. Even the address itself, ascolto attivo, translates to active listening. So sending an email to active listening is literally the first step on that journey.
And just in case you're still on the fence, they make 3 huge promises to remove any last bit of hesitation. First, it is completely confidential. What you say there stays there, period. Second, it's always free for students. And finally, it's super accessible. You can meet in person or you can do it online. They've basically taken away all the classic barriers: privacy, cost, and location. So we end on this question, which I think brings it all full circle. The University of Siena's Ascolto and Inclusion service, it's not just about solving problems. It's about unlocking potential. It makes you wonder, right? When you have a space that truly, genuinely champions you for exactly who you are, what could you achieve? Academically, personally, the possibilities are pretty limitless.